Hi everyone, my name is Marissa. Welcome to these July energy readings. I'm very happy to be sharing space with you guys today. Just a little bit about me. My purpose for being here is to assist you guys in aligning with your soul's blueprint and your spiritual path, okay? So the more that we are aligning to our own true nature and what it is that we came to explore, our own specific niche within this incarnation, the more fulfillment we're going to experience, right? So that's my purpose for being here. Before I do these readings, I connect with those that are overseeing all of those beings that will be tuning into these groups, all right? And again, the intention is always to aid and assist you guys in your highest timelines possible, okay, for this incarnation. All right, so go ahead and take a deep breath before tuning in and choosing your group today. Over here on this side, we have the Vision with group number 1. We have the Pilgrim, group number 2, the Bardo, group number 3, and the Shaman for group number 4. Go ahead and take your time. A random number generator is always pretty accurate for me when my mind starts to get too involved in the selection process, all right? And whenever you guys are feeling ready, we're going to hop right into these readings. What's up, group number 1? If you guys selected this Vision archetype card, this is your reading for your July energies. So already in July, I feel like you guys will be taking stock of where you are at in terms of your life's purpose. And you know, what's really interesting about that phrase in general is sometimes I feel like we can get this idea that it's supposed to, like, we're supposed to lock into one thing and it's going to stay like that for an extended amount of time, right? So this is not really what I mean. What I mean by this is, in terms of the Vision and the month of July, I feel like you guys are just assessing your connection to something that is greater than you. You're assessing your connection to your innermost self, right? And to your soul self, to your soul's blueprint. And you're taking stock in terms of how much of this vision is yours, how much of this is, like, I don't want to say pure as if there's an assumption that, like, it could be impure, but what I mean is, like, how much, like, debris you've gathered up to this point in time, okay? Because the Vessel card really talks about, like, what is the state of your vessel? What is the state? You know, vessel is anything that holds a substance, right? It's like the container for something that holds a certain substance. In this case, this is more of like the container that is supporting your life's purpose, your mission, your soul's blueprint. And so it's like taking stock of that container, taking stock of what is supporting this. Like, what is the state of your vessel? This could even mean, like, are you taking time to rest, like your physical vessel? Are you taking time for yourself? Are you taking time to, you know, go deeper into meditation, go deeper into contemplation, to kind of unplug and disconnect from all of the noise and the debris that's coming from outside of you towards you, in order to really get even more clear, you know, about yourself and just where you're going. And sometimes it's like we hear these things and I feel like it can seem like a heady type of process, but you know, clarity is not born of the mind, okay? Clarity is actually born of stillness. And so that's really what I'm getting here is, the month of July, I feel like it's really, you're tapping deeper into the vision, or you're being guided to tap deeper into your soul's blueprint in order to gain more clarity about those things that maybe are chipping away at your vessel and that are, like, depleting you in a way that is maybe detrimental to your path and what you're here for. This doesn't mean that, you know, I never want to give advice of just, like, cutting people out or whatever, even though that's definitely the path that I've taken many times, and whatever, you know, to each your own. Like, you can't get it wrong, you know, but there is a lot of wisdom that is wanting to double. Your wisdom is doubling, or at least there is an opportunity for your levels of awareness to greatly expand, and just receiving more clarity about the direction you really want to go. And I feel like, again, your guides are really bringing my awareness back to, like, a spiritual understanding, okay? And like seeking truth for yourself, right? We have the Mountain here. This is actually a card. Like, there's like almost 2 cards within this card, because this is its own card, this image right here called the Mountain. And there's a little person standing inside of the mountain, which represents, like, in mysticism, a cave represents the heart. It's like going into yourself. right? So someone asked me recently on TikTok, I posted a video about, tuning out the bullshit and just going into your heart and everything will work out from there. We don't always know how, but truly it's like the heart is a magical portal. Okay. And someone asked in the comments, they were like, what do you mean by tuning into the heart? Like meditation? And I was like, that's a good question. I'm going to like sit on that. And so as I was meditating about that question today, like what was coming through is like, whatever, those moments where you just like can feel yourself becoming so overwhelmed. And for people that are really sensitive, it doesn't take very much. Like becomes really important that those moments that you want to reach for your phone to distract you from something, or that there's like this deep yearning to, like almost a yearning to go get beyond a certain, like, it's really hard to explain this, but it's definitely a sensational type of thing. Like the second that your mind becomes so overwhelmed, like tuning into the emotional guidance system, which is the heart. The heart is the portal of the emotional guidance system, right? And so it becomes necessary in order to, when you're on this type of path that my pile number ones are on, where it seems like you guys are kind of the visionaries and the leaders, like it becomes even more important that we're taking time to tune into that emotional guidance system, right? To go into the cave of the heart. And it's very symbolic, right? It's being able to, it's giving yourself permission to like cleanse your vessel, to remove all of the debris that you've gathered up to this point in time, right? So those things that maybe, I feel like overall July is really just reconnecting to yourself. And so maybe we've gotten a little bit distracted. Maybe our vision is like taking off to a degree that we hadn't expected, or that, like, I feel like these are positive energies leading up to this, but I feel like this is just a coming home to yourself kind of thing, right? Meditation, concentration, contemplation, the emotional guidance system, like not running away from pain, not running towards pleasure, but, bringing yourself back into that transcendent state beyond polarity is, I feel like, a really good way to tune more into the heart, right? Is like, okay, if I wasn't attached to good or bad or right or wrong, and I like was transcending into realms beyond that, then what would I do? Because a lot of the times those things can be so constricting. Again, that's the debris, and that's, the outside influences. That's like what our parents think. That's what our friends think, right? That can kind of like take up space in this very pure vessel. And so it's like releasing ideas the month of July. I feel like it's really like a lot. You're being encouraged a lot to tap deeper into your vision by releasing these ideas and these outside perspectives and these outside opinions, and really seeing what rings truthful to you, pile number one. Okay, so going into the heart, the metaphorical cave is like transcending beyond the realms of polarity, and then you'll surprise yourself, like a new direction will be born, right? Or like something will just be guided to do something different one day, or, it's like one of those things where the mind really can't, like, even if it tried to make sense of the mystical realms and what happens when you're living more from this level of, like in the world, but not of it, like seeking more, like the kingdom of heaven, if you will, right? The 5D, living more from the realms of the 5D, the 3D rules don't really apply, right? It doesn't really work the same. So we're going to get more details into the month of July with this energy, please, Spirit, for group number one, month of July. What can we expect for group number one, the month of July? Month of July, please, Spirit. What can group number one expect for the month of July? All right. So we have this card, this one. And one more wants to come up. Okay. We have the Page of Cups, Judgment, Knight of Pentacles, Ace of Swords. Yeah, so definitely much more clarity coming through. The month of July is definitely a month for you guys where, Judgment to me represents those things that are in alignment. Like Judgment really is like releasing yourself from, those things that we know kind of weigh us down and that we've maybe outgrown, but we're staying in something because we feel like it's the right thing to do, or like there's an obligatory kind of commitment there. And so I feel like it's really becoming clear. I was getting that sense that there was just some like external debris, maybe even the form of relationships. Again, it's not that you like have to completely cut people out of your field, but I am getting this sense of, maybe things have been going really well and that's great. And we've been more social. For some of you have been more social. And I feel like there might just be like, a rubbing off of like ideas and thought forms onto your own field of awareness, your own auric field. Okay. And so the month of July, I feel like you're gaining more clarity about your vision and about, there's a lot here about perception. Okay. Expanding perception. And I feel like in general, when our perception expands, like we might not really change what we're doing externally, but the place we're sitting in while we're doing it is what changes. And so that's what brings this like renewed sense, this renewed feeling, okay, this sense of renewal in general. And like, oh my gosh, okay, like I'm much more clear myself. I just feel much more relaxed. And the more relaxed we are, the more that we're taking action, not from a place of fear, but from a place of faith. And when we're seeding things in faith, right, it's just our results are much different. The fruit that we're going to gain from seeding things in faith is a lot different than in fear, right? So we also have the Seven of Swords, we have the Moon, and we have the Hermit. Yeah, so I mean, this kind of reiterated the energy that I was already feeling for sure. I mean, this is about taking space, okay, because the Mountain was really giving me hermity energy. That's really one of the cards that represents to me meditation. So this is confirming the message about taking space to yourself, okay? Some of you guys have been maybe feeling a bit anxious, right? Your anxieties and you have fears coming up left and right. And I feel like, again, this is just, I'm not here to like point the finger and blame people or anything, but this is really, I feel like saying that other people's like fields and just the state of the planet in general might just be rubbing off on you, okay? And it might be eating away at your peace and eating away at just hopefulness, all right? And what we think might be possible for life, okay? So there's a lot here about at this time or in the month of July, there is, I feel like you're gaining clarity about certain fears and clarity about certain, just karmic propensities that maybe have been keeping you in a state of waiting for the shoe to drop. Like the better it gets, like, can I really trust, this is such an interesting energy and I can totally relate to it. It's like things are getting better and internally you're feeling more free in the month of July. And then it's like the idea or the sensation or the feeling that, your past is going to come back and haunt you or something, like feeling guilty of what past versions of yourself did. And being unable to forgive that literally different version of yourself, like different lenses of perception, what might have been right and okay for your experience then, you've outgrown it. And I actually think that's a good sign when you're looking back and you're like, oh, that was like, I wouldn't do that now, because that means you're growing. That means you're expanding. That means you're coming in greater alignment with your vision. So it's interesting because July is a very expansive month for you. And I'm also feeling like, it's just spirit is like when these emotions come up and when these thought forms come up, it's really important that you have a practice that, doesn't entrench you deeper into this illusion and to these like negative fantasies and releasing all thoughts in general. Okay. So the degree to which we take any part of this illusion to be real, right? Even if it's good thought forms, I'm hearing that even the good thought forms can just like, especially the month of July for you guys, those good thought forms, wanting to attach to those is like, and wanting to push away the negativity is almost reinforcing the illusion altogether. And so it's like, you'll kind of be battling with yourself more versus just like doing your best when this overwhelm comes up, be like, no, I'm not going to feed this, right? I'm not going to feed this and I'm going to release. And especially when it gets the most overwhelming, just being present, becoming the witness, okay? As much as you can, becoming the witness to everything that's coming up, and you'll be on the other side before you know it, right? It's using your blade of perception to not take the bait of, whatever suggestions are being presented to you. And I feel like you are feeling renewed, at least by the end of July. I feel like you're feeling renewed and even more dedicated and even more steadfast for like towards what you're here for. And there's like a sobriety I'm getting here, like, because sometimes spirituality can be like extremely ungrounded, and we're like wished everything that we could ever want on the earth planes. And, I feel like you're realizing more and more that it's an internal thing, and I feel like, you're just you're doing it for the right reasons. Not that there could be like right or wrong reasons for following spirituality, but it's not necessarily for like what you're going to get or like the fame or the popularity, but it's like, no, I just really want peace. I just really want freedom from these illusions and from this insanity. Right. And so as you set yourself free, it's like then externally things just click into place. And at that point, you're just kind of in awe and you're like, wow, this is kind of cool, but I'm not going to fall for it. I'm just going to keep doing me and keep tuning in, and you become the vessel, right? You become the servant and the vessel for this overall vision, of this important puzzle piece that I feel like you guys are here to play, because I do sense that you guys are probably guides for many people, and many people probably look to you, as a source of clarity and like spiritual understanding and how to like get themselves out of like this illusion or their own illusions, their own insecurities, their own like fears and anxieties, And so you guys, pile number one, just might be a type of being that it's hard for other people to kind of hold the same type of space for you. Like you can, you're more expanded, I feel. So people that have a more narrow lens of perception, like when you give them advice, like it feels good for them. It's freeing, it's expanding, right? And so it's like, well, where does pile one get that expansion? Okay. And so you're being guided deeper into yourself. You're being guided into greater connection with your soul stream, with the one infinite, whatever you want to call it, source, whatever you want to call it. And, what they say that the greatest vessels, what makes a good vessel is the emptiness. So there's a lot of emptying of thoughts, releasing narratives, and just being here, just being now, being present. And I feel like you'll maybe receive kind of a lot of invitations to start getting lost in this illusion, get lost in worldly things. And then you're like, oh yeah, despite what everyone else might want to say about what I'm doing and, how I'm living my life and thinking that, I'm disconnecting and burying my head in the sand. This is actually the greatest gift I can give to myself and to the planet, is to release all of this and to not get caught up in the drama, right? Purification, a lot of purification happening, but I feel like you're feeling very free. Okay. This is like a deepening and unto yourself and a deepening onto like being a mentor. There's 2 cards here in particular, even 3, about being a mentor and being someone that other people can look up to and turn to in their darkest hours. Right. And so, yeah, you're just expanding your own capabilities to do that for your own self. So yeah, a lot of clarity coming through, deepening, releasing at the same time. And I feel like you're feeling more yourself than ever before. So again, utilize your tools of concentration, contemplation, meditation, especially when things get chaotic in your energetic field, and take the space that you need when you need it. All right, pile number one, if you guys selected this pile today, maybe leave a sword in the comment section down below if you don't want to share anything else. And I do hope to see you on my channel again soon. Much love. Hey, group number 2, welcome to your reading for July energies. If you selected the Pilgrim, this is your reading. You also had the Mother come up in this reading. Okay, so these are interesting energies, and I'm definitely already feeling a lot of symbolism behind these 2 archetypes. So first with the Mother energy here, this is kind of, to me, symbolic for these roles that we have taken in society, that we have an idea about like what it should look like, okay? Because these are kind of like, the mother, you think of a being, or at least how this is showing up in my mind's eye, how the guides are helping me interpret this, is the mother is like this entity that, lives and dwells, and you can count on them, they're consistent, they're always there, that kind of thing, like conventional, right? And then we have this pilgrim kind of energy, which is the wanderer, which is the explorer, which is the understanding that in order to be shifting and consistently growing, then we always have to be moving, right? And so it's interesting because we have this very active force of like exploring. This could even be internal exploration. So like plant medicines, if that's what you do, or just like, reading more, or, listening to audios or something that takes you deeper into your awareness of yourself and what you're here for. So kind of conflicting and contrasting energies, but they're being asked to be merged together. So taking those things in your life that are conventional in the month of July, I feel like it's just going to happen to where, there's going to be certain catalysts where you're being called to kind of see where you have assumptions of two things not being able to go together. And so that's going to kind of be your mirror of seeing where you're putting limitations on your own sense of self and your own identity and where you think you can go and why you think you can go there and do things, right? Because again, it's like, I mean, take for example, like if you are a mother, right? And there's certain ideas that society has, like, that are like glaringly obvious of, you know, what it means to be a mother. But it's like, if it's not in your soul's blueprint, then of course, looking at something like that is going to seem very limiting. But like, take me for an example. Like, I always knew from a young girl I was going to have a child when I was younger, you know, to society standards, at least the culture or the society that I grew up in. And it's been one of the most freeing experiences I've ever had. Okay. So it's like, you're starting to see where you place your own limitations, maybe based off how other people are viewing you, or I'm getting the sense that in July there will be invitations to kind of be like, you know, like, fuck that. I'm not going to subscribe to that. Like, this is what I'm here for. This is like, I can have the cake and eat it too kind of thing, you know, especially if it's like in alignment. You're learning more by going out and exploring and having maybe new experiences of how, like, what is really for you, right? What is in alignment with your blueprint and what might not be, and what maybe was just passed generationally. Generationally, or just like a cultural kind of thing. Okay, so we'll get deeper with the tarot here. Okay, so what else does this energy have? What does this mean for the month of July for pile number 2? What is this energy about? Yeah, so I feel like there's a lot of expansion for you guys with this 8 of Wands coming up. Maybe even movement. We do have another Queen energy coming up. Very intuitive. We have the 10 of Pentacles, the 5 of Wands. What else wants to come up? The King of Swords. The 4 of Swords. The 9 of Wands. And the 2 of Cups. Here, let me just shift this really quick. Yeah, so the thing about the 4, I'm being drawn to the 4 of Swords right away, is that, you know, the 4s represent the cards of caution, right? And so I feel like there might be some like internal battle with the 5 of Wands that's going on that might have been going on for some time, okay? Of like the best direction to go, or, It's interesting that we have the King and we have the Queen, and we also have the Head and the Heart energy coming up. So again, there is this like blending of opposites, this blending of polarities, or this merging of things that seem like they don't go together. Okay, so like I feel like the month of July, you're being asked to explore something that might be a bit unconventional to you. Okay, especially with the 2 of Cups coming up, that can just be symbolic for, like, you know, my symbol from Spirit of, like, you know, unconventions in like the household or something, you know, giving yourself permission to do things a bit differently to help like break you past your own like levels of consciousness, or your own framework of, like, this definitely has to do with like your environment, right? Maybe even people, because these are both people cards in this archetype. Like, there's different like archetype cards. There's the tools, there's the places, there's the people, there's the initiations. These are people. Okay, and then we're seeing these things come up as well. So I feel like the really what I'm getting is the areas that you're exploring this the most might be in your relationships with other people, and the necessity to follow your heart, regardless if it makes sense at first, and that clarity will come eventually. That clarity comes not through like passivity, okay? But I'm seeing the month of July is like you're actively going out and exploring, right? And it's creating this like supportive little, you're being nurtured and supported and kind of cultivated at this time, the month of July. And I feel like there is something here about like wanting to break past the threshold too, with the 9 of Wands and this 10 of Pentacles. I feel like there's a wanting to break a certain threshold in terms of how your external reality like feels and how you feel within it. And again, because this 4 of Swords is very loud to me in this reading right now, I feel like the Four of Swords is like taking your blade of perception and slicing through whatever insecurities or doubts might be keeping you very cautious at this time, right? The four cards are like, you're so cautious, and just like wanting to let life just happen, right? Like becoming so cautious that life is happening for you. And it's like you're not an active player within things. And that's actually what keeps you in a more scattered state. And like that's what keeps you more confused, right? Is when you're trying to assess all of your options, to assess things maybe too much because there's too much caution, because we don't feel like we'll be supported, right? And so there is an aspect here in July, I feel like that has to do maybe with other people, and could even have to do with like career expansion in your career, and maybe starting something new that might deal with the lives of other people in some way as well. Okay, but it's giving yourself permission to like have a beginner's mindset with this pilgrim. And I feel like this is also saying you're much more ready for this and expanded than I think you even give yourself credit for, because the king and the queen are both matured energies. Okay. And so I feel like this is like giving yourself permission to like expand in whatever way you're being guided to, because there's going to be people that have been well on their road less traveled, and there's also going to be individuals that haven't started yet, really. And so I feel like July energy is like whatever you're naturally kind of wanting to explore, and whatever you've been like considering, and whatever areas you're like, okay, this feels like there's some outside influences here that are telling me how I should view my life and how I should see my life. And so I feel like there will be much support for you in the month of July to step beyond that very quickly. There's a lot of momentum that I feel like is wanting to move you past this internal block so that your external can feel like it's much more authentic to you, and not like you're kind of, I don't know, just like fighting to prove yourself. Like you will speak for yourself, and just your life and your alignment speaks for itself when you feel very trusting of yourself and trusting of the direction that you're going. The thing about the pilgrim is the pilgrim doesn't know if it'll end up at the destination, if they'll even end up where they're going, but what they gain along the way, their trust in themselves, and just things working out, and seeing how divine synchronicity is a thing, and the right tools show up, the right people, things, etc. That's kind of this energy that I feel for the month of July. It might feel very new. You might have a lot of new experiences that kind of go against what your current belief systems or paradigms up to this point have supported. And you're being invited to stay in that state of like, okay, I'm moving beyond this. I don't want to live cautiously forever, Not saying this is like a negative energy, but that's just what is highlighted right now in this reading with, the other energy that's coming through. And I feel like too, this is just like, there might just be some sort of, you're releasing yourself from feeling bound by other people's perceptions is really what I'm getting. And because of this new level of just feeling like you, and this new level of trusting, I feel like is drawing in people that you just feel like, wow, this just feels like I'm talking to myself, right? This just feels like I'm talking to another me or something, because I feel like you're piercing the veil in a really beautiful and powerful way in the month of July, and you're seeing life a bit differently. You're experiencing yourself a bit differently. Right, that right place, right person, right time kind of thing is really what I'm getting from this group. And, just going through your heart, trusting yourself, and understanding too that you might be an individual that, this is a lot of the people that I work with tend to be the visionaries, all right, and tend to be the beings that see more than the people around them, and that are here to kind of be the change makers for the planet. And so, sometimes that conflict is born when we want other people to like, we wish other people could see what we're seeing, so they knew that we weren't crazy or something, and that we do care for other people, even if they don't always understand why our actions might look very opposite from the vast majority of people around us. It's because we're not utilizing logic alone. It's like we're tapping into something that's beyond logic to make our decisions. And so at the end of the day, that's what's going to, the more that you're on this path, the longer that you're on this path, the more that people are just like, wow, okay, I guess whatever pile number 2 is on, like they're on to something. So there also might just be feminine archetypes or the female people in your family, maybe some of those type of energies is coming up of like not being understood or feeling accepted or rejected or whatever is something that you're working to clear, because like the mistrust in the divine feminine or the mistrust in like things working out for you is what this could also represent as well. And so in July, just be open to having those experiences where you're leaning more on your intuition, and the clarity always will come after. Like, oh my gosh, like I had the intuition to do this and I didn't, and fuck, now I'm here. Or, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I listened to my intuition because look what happened. Like, look at this incredible scenario, that kind of thing. And so July, that the energies of that are going to be very supportive and strengthening your connection to not only like the third eye, throat chakras, but your heart chakra, and the crown as well. So I'm going to leave this reading here for now, pile number 2. If you selected this reading today, is there a lamb? Do we have a lamb down below? Leave either a lamb or a swan if you chose this pile today, if you have nothing else that you want to share. And yeah, I do hope I see you again on my channel soon. Much love. Hi, group number 3. Welcome to reading for July energies. So if you selected the Bardo, this is your reading along with Apocalypsis. So these are really interesting cards to come up together, okay? Because there's a lot here about like beyond the veil and death, like ending of like a certain way of perceiving things, because I'm seeing an eye here, I'm seeing an eye here, and Apocalypsis, is kind of about like an uncomfortable truth coming to the surface, right? So this is an initiation card. It's this and the Aletheia card that talk about truth coming to the surface. The Aletheia card is a bit more pleasant, okay? And this card can just mean that it's a truth that leaves you maybe feeling a bit disillusioned, okay? Like, wow, like this really like was not how I thought it was. All right, so July energies, I wouldn't be surprised. We have a lot of this kind of happening like as a global theme. Yeah, look, we have the moon coming up at the bottom of the deck. We kind of see this as a global theme right now. It's just like seems like it's continuing to happen. Okay, and so I feel like it might be that, and also likely that it's something on a microcosmic scale as well. I think we're all going through these things because as within, so without, what's happening collectively within, we're going to see that on this shared screen of this reality, this earth reality. Okay. And so I feel like for you guys, pile number 3, there's something, you're realizing something that is not what it once seemed to be. And at first I feel like it might leave you feeling a little bit disillusioned because this veil has been lifted. And it's kind of caused you to question maybe other things in your life. And these are actually really positive spaces to be in, okay? Like sometimes I feel like it's like we get scared when we start to question everything in our lives. But the month of July, I feel like this is positive for you because it's like we kind of have to go through those cycles of death perceptions to really start to get the point of like, oh yeah, like there is so much mystery behind all of this, and relying a bit less on your thought forms and your narratives and your belief systems to support you through life, and relying much more on here, truth that is here and that is present. And all right, I had to clear some things on my storage. I'm sorry if that got weird for a second. That got funky. But I had to remove some things from my computer so I could keep recording. So the Bardo is like the in-between states, right? The in-between worlds. And so that's kind of how I'm feeling like you guys are going through this big reset in the month of July where what you once thought was true is not. Like there's a deep sense of like, what the fuck? Okay. And so I'm glad you guys are seeing this now. If you're already going through this, then I'm glad you're seeing it at any point, regardless of when you watch this, but there's a deep sense of just like, what is happening? All right. And this is a gift, okay? This is that you're in between worlds. And so it kind of feels aloof. It kind of feels like floating around. It kind of feels like nothing, like it almost is like that, Father, why have you forsaken me? Regardless of how deep your spirituality is, I still have moments like this, right? And I'm pretty in tune with the way these cycles work now that I don't fear them. And I know it's making space for an even more expanded lens of perception and even like a less like identified way of living life. And so what I mean by that is sometimes we can get, again, so attached to how we think things are and just like who it is we think we are, and we think we're this person, you know. And the thing that death reminds us, and that's so scary for so many beings, is like, you know, once the memory dies, once the brain dies, you know, then it's like, once that's gone, then it's just the energetics, it's just the experience. And so it's like a death of the identity, I feel like, along with whatever this truth is. It's like who I've known myself to be up to this point in time does not make sense. None of my life makes sense. Okay, and your guides are asking you to hold the faith regardless, you know, and to not believe the negative, self-deprecating, kind of like pessimistic thoughts that might come up. And if they need to come up, let them, like, don't fight them, but just kind of like have just like, okay, like this is happening now. All right, because there's a big reset that's happening, and I feel like it's going to be really positive for you guys, like ultimately. And we're going to get deeper into this energy. So what else do we have to know? What area of the life is this happening in? What else do we need to know about this energy? There's the moon again for pile number 3, please. Yeah, it's a severing of what you've once known about yourself, what you once thought to be true. Yeah, 7 of Cups. Some more of that disillusionment. Where do I go from here? Like, what do I do now? Here, let me get all of the cards up. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, you're turning off your mind. You're tuning out your mind, and you're relying more on the heart. It actually is very positive. You know, we're already seeing that overall, especially with this Chariot and this Emperor card. Yeah. Okay, let me just fix these. Okay, so I feel like you guys have been maybe reaching for a new beginning, or like subconsciously wanting a new start or something, or subconsciously like yearning for something to shift internally. If not like just the way that you see things, like maybe it's an external thing. And so I am feeling this is much more to me a death of perception, right? And so, you know, don't get me wrong, that can like honestly lead to psychosis if we're not, you know, if just aware of our journeys. All right. But because you guys are tapped in and aware, I don't see that happening for you, but just keep in mind, okay, that could be what's happening. Some of you guys might even be doing like plant medicine, or, you know, like ayahuasca or like psilocybin or something, to where like this is kind of an experience that I've had before. And I have this without plant medicine too, like all the time. I feel like frequently this happens, but also, you know, I guess I'll share a little story so these energies can make better sense to you. But there was one time I was like in this weird, funky ass energy. I don't know what was going on. And I have microdosed pretty consistently before, where I'll take like points, you know, just like a quarter of a gram or something. And it doesn't really affect me much. Like if anything, it just like, you see more of the color spectrum, and you just notice you're in a good mood or whatever, right? I was just like, had been guided to microdose for an extended amount of time. And so recently I was like in this weird state, and I was like, okay, I'm going to like microdose. And I like, man, I did not take that much. And I started to have like this, I felt like in that 3 hours that I felt the psilocybin, that I was going to have a psychotic break. And it was interesting because after I studied about my experience after, it was Terrence McKenna that said it, you know, if you don't take enough of these things, and this is not me encouraging anything, okay, just please stick around for the analogy. But it's like, if you don't take enough, you can kind of fight the experience. And it's actually fighting that experience of the ego death that pushes us into psychosis. And so that's kind of what I'm feeling for the month of July for you. It's like to not fight the experience. And what I try to do, I try to put on spiritual teachings. Like I try to reinforce my paradigm. And I felt the medicine at that time was like, no, like, you know, it gives you what you need, not what you want, right? Just like the cards. And so I was trying to reinforce this paradigm that was trying to be shattered, and to just be here, just to be now, and to not live my life so much through like the lens of perception I'm seeing from, and to just like cut through anything of the mind and to just be present. And that is when our roots really deepen into truth, and into something that is going to be long lasting, into something that is going to be like well standing. It's when we've built our foundation upon something solid. And so I feel like you guys like have been yearning from a soul level to experience your life in a different way, or to like get past, to get beyond something, whether it's your own fears, your own insecurities, or some sort of block. And now the month of July is like, I'm bringing it. Okay. It's being brought, but there is a sense of renewal that you're having, and it's on the level. Notice how we have mostly of the heart. Okay. So that's again why I was like, okay, you're being shattered through this. Your perceptions are being shattered, and it might be a little bit like you might feel, what the fuck, like trying to grasp onto anything that makes sense. All right. And so you're being guided to be present, tune into your heart. You know, it's like language, the realms of language can only take us so far, and you're going beyond that in the month of July. And this is really saying to like, just be as mindful as you can, be as present as you can, and don't try to reinforce these old belief systems that are actually trying to be broken down for you so you can experience a more free version of yourself. Okay, because yeah, I feel like these death cycles are so necessary, because after I had that experience, when I was literally like, this was probably the most terrible experience I've ever had. And I've done like, you know, way more than this, 10 times the amount of this. And I've had great experiences. You know, there's different reasons for it. Like I was in my house, I wasn't outside. The oxygenation of your cells is really important, you know, especially when it's like considered a bad trip or whatever, you know. And again, I'm not condoning plant medicine or anything, but I think it's a great metaphor and a great analogy for this, just the energy I'm feeling, right? With these two cards especially, it's like, you cannot fight this experience. You just have to lean into it and trust you'll make it out on the other side alive, because it's when we fight the experience, we actually like make it worse for ourselves. Right. And so then, yeah, at one point I just turned off the teachings. I turned Ram Dass off, and I was just started breathing and closed my eyes and just like played some like meditation music. And before I knew it, I was on the other side telling so many people about it. But yeah, this is kind of like you're getting what you need, maybe not necessarily what you want, but it is opening the door. There is positivity that is going to be born from this. Okay. There is a reawakening of the heart and a less reliance of the mind. It's like the mind is a tool, right? But so often it's like, I'm about to say this cheesy shit, but so often we like, it becomes our master, right? When it's like, we're fact checking. Oh my God. Gross. I hate that phrase, but we're just like fact checking what we're actually seeing through our lens of perception versus like what's actually here, you know, what's actually happening. And it doesn't have to mean anything, you know, like the deeper you're on this path, the guides are really coming through and saying like things start to work extremely weirdly. Shit gets weird. Okay. Where it's like, we really are each other's reflections and just invitations to explore our own paradigms and our own karma. And when we think we're interacting in a certain way, and we think like law says, like physical law, 3D law says that this happened, so that means this should happen, like cause and effect, it works completely fucking differently, especially when you're at the level that I sense you guys are kind of at, you know? And it's like, we're kind of just using each other, you know, to kind of see where we're still stuck. And that's kind of the extent of it, you know? We're giving ourselves permission to like become more free from judgment, right? It's like the mind judges and the soul just appreciates. Okay. So I feel like after whatever this, you know, up leveling is, or whatever this shattering is, there's a deeper appreciation, and there's more presence, and there's more like authenticity that you're going to be sharing, right? After that experience that I had, and you guys will notice this too on the other side, it's like, you're just much more authentic, and you're like, holy fuck, like the mind is a hell of a place to be, you know? And the more that you free yourself and you're just present, the more that you say the right things, you just feel relaxed. It's like there's nothing to prove, and you just radiate power. You radiate true power, true charisma, true confidence, you know? But yeah, it's like very in-betweeny, the month of July, but what has the potential to be born, okay? Because these are potential timelines I'm tuning into. It's like, it's all dependent upon you guys. The free will is a thing, okay? There is the potential to really in a very powerful and profound way to go much beyond what you have experienced yourself as before. And it's because you're not living through the lens. You're living a little bit less through the lens of the veil, through the lens of illusion. Like the smoke in the mirror, the smoke has become a little bit more clear. And so you can actually see the true reflection of yourself, capital SELF. You know, and the more you're seeing the self in you, the true self in you, the more you're seeing the true self in other people and all around you, because that's all that there is, you know, different forms of the self, right? And so, yeah, this is beautiful because like You're going to have much more moments, many more moments, even in July. Like, no, regardless of when you're seeing this, when this happens, like, it's like the heart is coming online even more. And because finally there's some sort of catalyst, or it could just be something in your blueprint or in your astrological chart that it's like, okay, this is ready to happen. And, you know, we got to like rebalance ourselves and to live much more intuitively, because that's really the direction that this planet is being guided to go in. You know, we're seeing that there's so much potential for psychosis to happen when people are just living on the realms of polarity alone. You're going to be able to find anything to support any side of anything, you know? So it's like, let's go beyond that and let's tune into what the soul has to say. Let's see what the, you know, the head honcho really has to say. And so you're being invited to live more from that level in the month of July. All right, my friends, I'm going to leave this here for now. If this resonated for you today, let's see, what should we leave down below? If there's not a cup, let's leave this tree. Yeah, let's leave this nice little pine tree down below. If this is the pile you chose today, much love, many blessings. You have everything you need, all right? You got it. This is exciting times, my friends. Much love. Hi, group number 4. Welcome to your reading for July energies. So this is a really fun combination, okay? Because when it comes to like shamanism, sometimes it's like naturally these two cards just seem like they don't go together, okay? But I totally get it, you know? Like you're restoring, like you're healing through laughter. You're helping other people heal through laughter. Okay, you're laughing more, you're restoring your ability to laugh more, you're seeing the cosmic joke behind everything. And what does that mean? Like, you know, sometimes, man, we can just get so wrapped up. Like take this, what just happened recently, okay? So in this drama, this life drama that we're all in, where we can take everything too seriously sometimes, all right? So one day I went to like get a Friday the 13th tattoo, and there was this one guy in the shop, like not the person that was giving me my tattoo, okay? This story will make sense in a little bit, okay? I'm not just here talking about my tattoos, but get it. Just like you'll get it. And there was one guy there that was so friendly, and we just like had such a good vibe. And I remember I was like, wow, what good energy. Like, yeah, this is my new place. I'm going to be coming here again. And like last week I was thinking about him because I was going to go to the shop and have my new artist, like he was doing another piece for me, which is actually like an Ouroboros, a snake eating its own tail. And, I was like thinking about that other guy and how just like his energy, and just like had really good thoughts about him. And come to find out, I was at my appointment yesterday, and he passed away in a motorcycle accident. He was 33. And I was like, whoa, like this kind of happens often to me where I'm just very sobered. I think if you're on this type of path, you're really sobered to the nature of reality. You know, we all have that underlying knowingness that we're going to die, that we're all going to the same place. But I'm kind of getting this sense of like a very sobered understanding of reality in the month of July for you. And it's allowing you to laugh more. It's giving you more permission to like take a fucking break and to not be so hard and to take things so seriously. The thing about the shaman has 3 archetypes within it. It has the healer, it has the mentor, and it has the unseen, right? So the shaman is the bridge between all worlds. Okay. So the mentor is the individual that is like always studying, okay, and learning, always expanding their lens of perception, always wanting to be like doing things so they can become a better healer, right? And then the healer, you're going out and you're healing yourself. You're healing individuals. You're helping to heal the culture, right? Just by radiating your truth, standing in your truth. And the unseen is your ability to perceive what is beyond the veil. All right. And so I feel like you're deepening in the month of July, your understanding of these things. Like what you've studied isn't just knowledge. It's like experience. You guys have already been on this path. Many of you is what I'm feeling. And there's just like so much more of a lightheartedness that you're either being invited to, you know, give to the world, you know, like however you teach or however you be, there's like an invitation to just be much more lighthearted in your approach. Or you'll have those invitations, or you'll just notice like, okay, in those situations where I want to stay serious, or where in the past I might have stayed more serious, like you're noticing the edge is being removed from you, and it's like taking the edge off. And that's, at least in my perspective, my most humble of opinions, I feel like the wisest beings are beings that, yeah, they're tapped into some like profound truth and wisdom. They're also very sober to what's happening on this planet, the darkness, you know, the density of it. But then there's also like, it's all a fucking joke. It's all a cosmic joke. it's like just a play. And so there's like, I noticed the wisest beings I've come across in person and just through teachings alone are just like, there's a lightheartedness. There's an edge that's been removed. They're not trying to prove anything, and that speaks for itself. So what else does pile number 4 need to know about the month of July? Pile number 4, month of July. Yeah, so in some way it might seem like a renewal. You have 2 6 cards coming up. What is 6? Yeah, 6 is the card of rebalancing, restoration and rebalancing. Yeah, so maybe it's like, maybe we got caught up in the drama. Like when I see the mask, I think of like a play, right? This is like don't get so lost in the drama of the world. A reminder, or you're just feeling like you're emerging from this darkness of like, oh fuck, I got really caught up in this. I was like pouring a lot into things that weren't really doing anything for me. I feel like sometimes there's this idea that like we have to like take on the world's problems to be good healers. But it's actually just like shining the light on your own darkness, that really makes the biggest difference. It's like, I feel like that's one of the reasons naturally why healers like kind of stay out of like politics and stuff like this, or stay out of like other people's business, heaven forbid letting other people live their own lives. And it's like, if you want my advice, here I am, come to me, my healing, whatever. But a lot of it is too, because we just understand everyone is on their own journey. It seems that we're sharing this journey together, but everyone really is on their own journey. And so I feel like there's a lot less, you're feeling a lot more relaxed in the month of July about how you go about your art form or your form of healing. You're not overextending yourself and because you're not taking the bait of like, I don't know, sometimes there can be like even pressure in the spiritual communities or just from the pressure from the outside that's like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And it's like that, no, like I'll act when it's clear for me to act, but again, it's because you're just not taking the bait of it being so serious, right? Because anything that's done in haste, if it's coming from an impulsive place rather than a place of clarity, it's only up to you to be able to decide where it's coming from, because people from the outside, things can look the same, but the place you're sitting in could be completely opposite. All right. And so again, this is like really coming back to your individual journey, and the best healing you can extend to other people is when, again, you're healed, you're restored, or you're constantly on that process of retrieving more of yourself. Also, there's something that just came through from the guides about, so the thing, especially anxiety, like it's actually been shown, I think Cryon did a talk on this, but it's been shown that the best way to heal anxiety is through laughter. Like that is like down to a cellular level, the most, like beyond any prescription, anything, the best way to heal anxiety is through laughter, genuine laughter. Okay, so you're being invited to have more of that genuine laughter and to not feel bad about it. Like, I don't know. Misery loves company. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. The Hanged Man, we have the 3 of Cups coming through. Oh, Ace of Pentacles. Okay, you have 3 6s coming through. So 6 is definitely a standout number here for your reading. So the thing to understand about the 6s is they are about harmony, restoring harmony, and rebalancing. Okay, and this is about like, the 6s can be alluding to the fact of like, we're missing out on the juiciness of the present because we're regretting decisions in the past, or we're looking too far into the future. Okay, so again, there is this like needing to be here-ness that is coming up. Okay, and a releasing of any guilt that you might be carrying in with you from the month of July, any ideas of how things have been, how things have gone, any shoulds, coulds, woulds, like doing your best to really release yourself from that. It's like, unless we're looking back to the past and laughing, then like, what really good is it? Unless you're a teacher or something and you're utilizing your experiences as anecdotes, like I typically do, it's not really benefiting you the month of July to hold on to those old narratives, to those old stories. And the Hanged Man is all about sacrifice, right? So if we're wanting new beginnings, if we're wanting new directions, if we're wanting increase in some way in our external reality with this Ace of Pentacles, it's like but you're also still holding on to these old timelines, these old ideas for dear life, you know, these old insanities, then there's no space for that newness to come in that you say you want. Okay. And so I do see you guys in the month of July positively impacting other people. You're kind of like a light in a dark room for other people. I feel like this is like not, again, this is standing your ground and not letting other people's influence kind of tell you how you should be responding to things or acting to things or acting towards things, because you can trust that you actually have a really, very great connection to your own source of integrity, which is not born from this plane of polarity. Integrity is born of your connection with source, your connection with your soul self. You know, I love Gandhi's quote of, you know, my commitment is to truth, not to consistency. Because he was like leading a bunch of people into battle one day, and then the next day he was like, this ain't right. And they were like, hey, like, you got all these people, like, what are we doing, Gandhi? Like, what's going on, buddy? You know? And he was like, I'm not, you know, it's, my game is truth, not consistency, not other people's expectations, right? And so that's kind of, July is like the energy you're living from, is like releasing, surrendering, releasing the past especially is coming up, nostalgic ideas, or just like the way you think things should be. And actually the sixes promise a better future, better than expected, you know, the six cards in general. And so I feel like that is coming. You know, you're making space, you're laughing more, you're being encouraged to not take things so seriously. And because of that, you're like, wow, like I'm understanding things from the past better. I'm seeing with greater clarity. You know, you're seeing things with greater clarity because there's not like a sting behind your memories. There's not like a guilt or a shame or an embarrassment or like I should have done this, right? There's just an acceptance, right? It's like, okay, everything for it's played its proper part, right? And because of that, I feel like you might even be exposed to a new direction or a new way of going about your work, or you're utilizing your skills and you're still utilizing your skills, but it might like take a new branch, right? It might branch off into something new, into a new direction or something, or maybe there's increase. You're starting to see, like I just saw 11:11 on the clock too, but you're starting to see like increase immediately, or in the month of July, you're noticing more increase almost to the same degree that you're releasing and you're laughing and you're removing the edge of life. All right. And so, yeah, there's a lot here about just like staying true to you, you know, staying true to the now, staying true to what's here, what's now, celebrating with people as much as you can, and understanding too, the thing about the shaman understands that, like, you know, what fear tries to do. The shaman has a really great understanding of fear and anxiety. All right. And so you're kind of here to hold the torch for other people that aren't where you're at. All right. And that kind of just want you to reinforce their narrative or what they think is going on, that are wanting, you know, they're almost using you, like they want freedom. On one level, we all want freedom from these fears, but on another level, it's like, but we just want to be sure. We want to be sure it's okay to release the fear before we do. We want to make sure it's logically sensical to release the fear, you know? And so we'll kind of just like keep ourselves in that realm of insanity by trying to release ourselves from it, when it's like, just let go of the fear and it'll make sense, you know? But I know that's like, just let go of the fear. Like, what a, you know, what a silly thing to say, Marissa, but that's kind of just like what you might notice in the month of July. It's like people want you to like fear with them. They want you to like, they want to bring you into this storyline, you know, because there's a lot of healing from the past that's happening on a collective level anyways. And so, like, again, this is just the outside world is just a macrocosmic. What we see on a collective scale is just a macrocosm of what's happening individually. And so there's a lot of untruths that a lot of people are seeing, but this is the name of your game, pal number 4. You're used to this. And so, again, like, people might want to drag you back into their narrative, and they might be like, why are you so happy? Like, why are you having so much fun? Like, you should A, B, C, and D. And you're just like, no, I shouldn't. Actually, what is that really doing for anyone in the world, you know? And so it's almost like that thriving chaos type of energy. I don't think anything's maybe necessarily chaotic in your life. Maybe you might have some of those reflections of like echoes of your own past or whatever. But I do feel like this could also be talking about the world at large, and just like people just like expecting you to act the way everyone else is acting to these things and getting caught up in just like the bullshit of it all. And you're like, nah, I'm good up here. Like, I'm good seeing beyond it all, you know, and when it feels right for me to act in the ways that I'm guided to act, I'll do it. But I'm not going to just like act because that's what is expected of me. And I'm not going to act in ways that are expected of me. Again, because where the shaman sources, like the shaman doesn't use logic to make decisions. Like you're going to something much deeper, much more reliable than just like the mind, right? So pile number 4, I'm going to leave this reading here for now. If this brought clarity, confirmation, and peace to your heart today, please give this video a thumbs up. And if this was your pile and you don't want to leave a comment down below, let's leave like a little bat. I think there's a bat emoji. If not, maybe a butterfly, whatever one of those feels relevant for you. But yeah, I do hope to see you on my channel again soon. Much love.